as we initiate chaos theory guarantees that we'll play like lightning shots sounding like thunder. For every time in the face that it hits us, we're faster. Well, they should know by now. They see the world keeps trying to shake us. It only waits us. The pendulum swings. The pendulum swings. It's in a beautiful darkness. Only another. It's full steam ahead. Full steam ahead. All about the Petty Express. Misdirected from the start. It's a runaway train. I come a freight train. I come a freight train. In a beautiful darkness, the Petty Express. In a beautiful darkness.
Hey guys, it's Mo with the Petty Express. We are back on the Christopher Wolfenbarger case, although I will contend that the closed captions have never accurately reconstructed his name thus far. We are right in the middle of Norma Patton's direct testimony from the state. Now, if you've been following this case since we started covering it, then you know that Norma has a sort of complicated history in this case. Not only is she the, victim's mother, but she also happened to have been linked with her husband to 5 murders that happened in the 70s, for which she testified against her husband, Carl Patton, for immunity in 2003. So this case is wild. I will say that I am trying to give Norma as much grace as I would any other victim's mother, but I do have to keep in mind that, she has been linked by her own admission to very serious crimes as well, and what her motivation for that might be. Is she shading this story? Is she giving us the full story? And I think that's something that the jury is also going to struggle with. But I am not quite sure what is going on as far as that. Now, I will say that Baker is currently on this case, and he says it gets crazier from here. So let's get going and let's see what Norma has going. I do have it at 1.25 speed. We are going to hang out here until about noon, and then I am off to go look at a laptop to get more stuff done for my channel and be a little bit more productive. If any one of you know me or have been a longtime viewer, I am tech phobic, so this is a step out of my comfort zone. So let's stay in our comfort zone for now, the wild, crazy wackiness of trials, and we'll get back. If you have any questions, this case is crazy sauce. If you put a question mark in chat, I can see it and try to answer those as they pop up because it is a lot to take in. I've got about 17 pages of notes already, and we're only on day 2, part 2. So this is a very dense case. What? Oh.
98. It was the last time I saw her.
The last time you saw
Oh, no.
your daughter in 1998?
1998, I saw her November 9th, 1998. It was the last time I saw her.
The last time you saw her, okay. All right. Now, are you familiar with where your daughter was working during this period? You said the computer place, was she working anywhere else?
To my knowledge, she was working on and off at Waffle House.
All right. Okay. Now, I want to turn your attention to the year 1998. Did you have an opportunity to see Christina in and around, say, the July-August period of 1998?
No, I did not.
Okay. During that period of 1998, do you recall seeing any injuries or bruising on the person of your daughter, Melissa Wolfenbarger?
When I saw Melissa in the summer of 1998,
Okay, you just said you hadn't seen her. He asked you, were you able to see her in 1998 in July or August? You said no, and now you're going to proceed to talk about the marks that you saw on her when you didn't see her. just making sure we're all on the same page and I'm not writing down notes or having auditory hallucinations.
When I saw her, she had on long sleeves and blue jeans, and it was like July and August.
Okay. So I want to make sure that we're on the same page here. So you're saying that it's not 88. You're saying in July of 1998, you saw your daughter Melissa.
Yes,
All right. Were you able to observe any bruising or marks or abrasions on your daughter at that time?
I did not, because she had on long sleeves and blue jeans.
Okay. Did your daughter tell you about anything that happened? Your Honor, as previously ruled on this matter.
Overruled.
Did your daughter tell you about anything that occurred in that month of July?
No.
Okay.
What?
Let
Wait.
me ask you this.
Objection? Okay, never mind. Withdrawn. Go ahead.
Okay.
Were you aware of an arrest that occurred on the defendant, Christopher Wolfenbarger, in July of 1998?
Yes,
Okay. Are you aware of why that arrest occurred?
because he had knocked her down and dragged her along the sidewalk.
Okay. Now, I want to make sure that we're talking about information that you are getting from the right source. Where do you get it
From Melissa.
Okay. And when did she tell you that?
And when me and her dad came and picked her up from where they were living on Brookline Street.
Okay.
When we took her back to the house, and I saw the abrasions on her backside. Her dad did not see those abrasions.
Okay. And when you say abrasions, what do you mean by that?
Her whole backside was skin up like she'd been drug along the sidewalk.
So was that consistent with what she told you about being dragged?
Yes.
Did you see scrapes, redness, or blood when you observed that?
Yes.
And if you could stand up and well, I'm not going to have you stand up. But when you say it around her back, how large, you could just demonstrate, how large of an injury would you say you just
I'd
demonstrate?
say probably something along that line.
Okay, all right. And did Melissa tell you who was responsible for that?
Chris.
And do you see the person that she was speaking of in court
Howdy,
today?
howdy, Bush.
I can't see him, no.
Okay,
The screens are blocking him.
I see. Okay. Are you able to stand up?
Watch the ledge.
Okay.
Yes, I see him.
All right, you can sit down. Thank you. You tell the court what the defendant is wearing?
He's wearing a blue suit.
All right. What happened after you observed those abrasions?
Well, we because his mother had custody of Christina and Joey, we went through the Henry County process, and Melissa got the kid, both children, and they lived with me.
Okay.
And for about till they went to court
Okay.
on the abuse.
And were you present in court on that date?
I was.
Yeah, Bush, this is a long case.
And was the defendant present in court that date?
Yes, he was.
Do you recall what date that was?
No, my mind is just, I'm getting a little frazzled. July 29th, I think,
Okay. And that would have been July 29th of?
1998.
Okay, all right. Do you know if the case went forward that date?
No, it did not,
And why didn't it?
because Chris.
Yes, he was very young. Melissa and Christopher, I believe, were 16 and 17 when they got married. And this was maybe 1 or 2 years into their marriage, possibly even less, like 18 months. So he was very, very young when this crime was alleged to have happened. And it's taken all these years for them to come up with a case because Melissa's remains were found. Her head and her limbs were found. Her torso has never been found. And when it was found, because they had been wrapped in plastic bags and there for some time, They were pretty degraded, and the body parts were wrongly labeled as a young white male instead of a young white female. So they were actually looking for the wrong people for many years. Now, if we fast forward to 2003, well, Miss Norma, who's on the stand, happened to testify against her husband for immunity because she and her husband were responsible for 5 red rums in the 1970s. Yeah, it's just mine's a generic Chiron, and then the court TV does have a normal Chiron, but it is nuts, just nuts, this case.
Christopher asked the judge to let him speak to Melissa alone,
Okay.
and the judge allowed it.
All right. And after that, what happened to that case?
Melissa left with Chris. I went to daycare and picked up Christina and Joey because I was the only one that could pick them up. And I met with Kathy Wolfenbarger and handed the kids over to her
Okay.
because Melissa was going home with Chris.
Mr. Fawcett?
Yes.
I was trying to find sort of a natural stopping point, and this is the best one I could find so far. For just a moment, Ms. Patton. So it's about 1:15, ladies and gentlemen. As promised, I'm going to break for lunch now until 2:15. So you are excused for lunch, and then we'll be back in here at 2:15, okay? Thank you.
We are gonna skip on
And you can
forward
just stay right
then.
there for now. We can talk about that. But I was advised before we go back yet. I don't know if that is, if we need to wait on him before Ms. Patton continues her testimony, if it comes down to it, we can talk about that. But I was advised before we took a break that y'all had some preliminary matter that you thought would be relatively straightforward to take up before we got started. What is that matter?
Well, the state is intending to enter in a copy of a letter allegedly from Melissa to her mom.
Yes.
And yesterday was the first time I've ever seen this letter.
Okay.
Yesterday is the first time I ever knew about this letter. So I have several problems with it. Number one, of course, it's 807 material. It was never noticed, and we've not had an opportunity to discuss.
Yeah. All right. Well, we are back for I guess we get to add to our bingo card because, you know, doing something, well, relatively, you know, helpful or good would be too daggone hard for this particular locality. So let's see, we've got discovery fuckery already. Because in the trial, you shouldn't have someone who, or the state, just handing over discovery to the defense mid-trial. This is not appropriate, and hopefully the judge doesn't let it stick, but we will see. Now, I am working on finding a better generator so everyone can play trial effery bingo and how to link it up so I can have it on the screen while we're doing this trial. Shizzy gave me some ideas, but y'all know me in technology and how technology and me are only the very lowest of friends. So we will try to work on that. I think I have a workaround for it, but I do need to get better with OBS. So give me about the weekend. I may be able to do it. Mike could.
Whether it qualifies under 807. Second of all, I would object under the best evidence rule. This is a copy. That's a copy as far as I know. Do you have the original?
Actually, I can't tell if this is, I think this is a copy.
So we don't even know if the original exists or doesn't. So those would be my problems with it.
Okay. Mr. Fawcett, so I believe I had already ruled, in fact, I know I've already ruled that Melissa's statements to her family members were going to be admissible under residual hearsay. And so this is, to me, not a hearsay issue, but more a best evidence or a late notice issue relative to you.
Did I misunderstand your original ruling? I thought it was two specific statements of Melissa's and not just a blanket open door, because I don't know if we're allowed to do that under 807.
Well, I mean, you're right. I was specifically talking about, I think it was 3 statements, 1 from Tina and 2 from Norma. But generally, the ruling was that statements that were made to her family members about this topic, I haven't seen that letter. I don't know what it says. as I understand it, the issue is more that it was not timely produced to you. And let's start there. Mr. Fawcett, when did you obtain this information or know that it existed?
I believe we met with the family, I want to say it was 2 or 3 weeks ago, and those letters were brought up at that point. And it was my understanding at that time that the paralegal that brought them over would have them served. I did not check into it past that, so when we found out that it had not been done, I had the letters were brought over and given to the defense counsel. I want to say the stack, if I was estimating somewhere around 50, 60 pages, maybe a third of that were letters and cards. What I did last night, yesterday I separated out 3 or 4 cards and 1 letter, and I copied those and gave that to the defense counsel. I don't think there was an objection to the cards, but the letters in particular, and why I think it wasn't something I was even looking at initially until we get to the point we're hearing some of the questions from the defense in the opening statement. And I think that the letter in particular speaks directly to the relationship between Melissa and her mother. It also speaks directly to Melissa's intent to keep her children, which I think is a theme of the defense in this case. She is specifically talking about, Kimberly Cambrone, Mr. Wolfenbarger's sister, Miss Kathy Wolfenbarger's daughter, and the discussion between Kathy Wolfenbarger and Kimberly Cambrone when Melissa was present. She's basically stating that we are having an argument about I want to keep my kids, and she's basically giving her mother the impression of the statement that Ms. Wolfenbarger is trying to invade on her as a mother. Essentially, this is what the letter is saying. I'm paraphrasing the letter, but that's what I'm getting from the letter. I think it's pertinent. I think it's relevant, especially opening statements aren't evidence, but that is the opening statement of the defense. Those are the questions that have been asked throughout the trial, and I think it's relevant because it sheds light on what Melissa's mind state was at the time of her death, her relationship with her mother, and her intent to keep her children and stay in her children's lives. And that was the intent.
I'm sorry, to keep her children and what?
Keep her children and stay in her children's lives.
Okay.
And so that's the intent of introducing this letter, to show that to the jury.
Okay. Mr. McDermott?
I'm not going to disagree that some of those things come up.
Yes, sir.
I haven't had an opportunity really to pore over this closely, which is also part of the problem of getting late discovery. Let me say this. First of all, it's about, if you knew 2 weeks ago, we should have got it 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to address that, and I
But let me add on to that. I know that the batch of cards existed as far back as Detective Shepard's interview of Norma in 2021. Okay. At that time,
we're talking about like birthday cards, greeting
Yes.
cards, things like that. Okay.
yes, that she had saved.
Just one moment. Off the record. Mr. Samuel, I trust that our county commission is still.
Oh, what's going on? Off the record.
Is that a witness?
Yes.
Okay. Sir, so there is, we have invoked a rule that requires that all of the witnesses in the case, if you might be called as a witness, that you wait outside until you're called as a witness. So if you'll please step outside, I'd appreciate it. Yes. Thank you, sir.
He was a witness.
Okay. Back on the record, there was a witness who was in the courtroom, and so I requested that he leave, and he did. You were saying, Mr. McDermott.
So I know that the state knew that those cards existed in 2021. They also knew that Norma had certain documents that we didn't have as early as 2021. And I know this from the interviews that were done that recorded. I can presume, I think safely, that this letter was in that batch that early because it's part of the material Norma had and then turned over to the state. And she was apparently trying to give it to the Detective Shepard in 2021. So my contention would be that this should have been in the first batch of discovery we ever got.
Yeah.
If Mr. Fawcett only learned about it a couple weeks ago, understandable, still, we should have known at that time.
Yes.
Okay. So a couple things. One, while it may not be best practice, there's a difference between a witness saying, yes, I have things like that, and then actually providing them to the investigator and or the state following up and saying, can we please have those things? And what I haven't heard so far.
I'm sorry, I'm out of line. Go ahead.
What I haven't heard so far is a representation that those things were actually, maybe they should have been, but that they were actually in the state's possession as far back as when Ms. Patton referenced them. So far what I've heard is that they came into the state's possession 2 weeks ago, which still means you should have had them 2 weeks ago or as soon thereafter as possible.
So from the interview, it's very clear that she has the documents in her possession as she's speaking to him and that she's handing them to him to look at and that he's reviewing them. So whether he took some kind of formal possession at the time, I mean, they knew they had it at the time. And
They
would
knew
have had
they
possession,
existed.
custody, and control at that moment. And the case law is very clear that it's not just the DA's office, but anything in the police's possession and control as well. So
Mr. Fawcett?
I can't reference the specific portion of the interview he's referring to, but that does not take away from the fact that we do not have possession of these items. That includes APD, that includes our office. I didn't have knowledge of them until we met with Ms. Patton, Tina Patton, and Norma Patton, so they simply were in our possession until 2 weeks ago.
Okay. I understand, Mr. McDermott, your concerns. I share them regarding the late notice that they were handed to you, but if the information that I've been provided is accurate, then while it should have been given to you 2 weeks ago, I don't know that it's being provided to you now, given that there is clearly some acknowledgement that they exist. As far back as whenever Ms. Patton was interviewed, I don't know that there's a basis to exclude it for that reason, for it having not been more timely provided to the defense in discovery. Beyond that, you had, I haven't seen them. I don't know what they say. Are you also asserting any other objections or efforts to limit their admissibility rather than simply that they were not disclosed timely, which I've already ruled on?
Well,
Good morning,
I would
J.P.
reiterate the hearsay objections. I mean, and I would also say that this is not best evidence. Show me the original.
Okay. Thank you. Again, I haven't read them. I don't know what they say, but based on the prior rulings that I made regarding the state's effort to admit statements by Melissa Wolfenbarger that were made to her family, specifically sister and mother, and that those statements satisfied the residual hearsay exception. You're right, Mr. McDermott, that the court still needs to address the individual, pieces of evidence,
all
but
good
it does
in the
seem as if they
neighborhood,
fall into
JKD
that same
Buck.
category. And so for that reason, I believe that the same arguments the state has made regarding residual hearsay would apply here if they are what they've been represented to me to be, which is letters from Melissa to Ms. Patton and or greeting card, birthday wishes, et cetera, from Melissa Wolfenbarger to Norma Patton. So that's going to be my ruling. Anything else that we need to put on the record regarding that issue, Mr. Fawcett?
I'm sorry, Judge, I didn't get the last 5 minutes.
That's okay. I was just saying, I'm going to say that it falls into the same foundational category as what you've argued on residual hearsay. And so, at least as a general proposition, there may be specific objections, but as a general proposition, I'm not going to exclude them. Do you have any other matters we need to take up?
I don't object, no.
Mr. McDermott?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. I have one issue. I was advised yesterday that we had a juror who needed to leave. He had an appointment at 4. And now it's been pointed out to me that for him to be at that appointment by 4, he needs to leave at like 3. So it's getting a little hairy. I can probably impose for a few minutes, but not much longer. So I'm just giving you a heads up, given that Norma Patton, I expect, is an important witness. We're going to have to interrupt her testimony and bring her back on Monday unless y'all are going to conclude with her in 45 minutes.
You think you can conclude direct in 45 minutes?
Well, I just don't think that, I don't know.
I mean, either way, it doesn't matter to me. I'm happy to.
Gives you more time to spend with those letters, sir.
Right, thank you.
Okay.
I think that would have been appropriate remedy, Your Honor.
Okay. So are we ready for the jury?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are we ready for the?
Are we going to quit at 3:15 today? Is that your plan?
Yeah, my plan is to quit as close to 3 as I can because I don't want to make a juror mad if I can avoid it, right? Unless it's an unreasonable request.
Can we just go ahead and say that we'll get as far into direct as we can and end at the end of direct if it ends?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, unless he stands up and asks 2 more questions and we're done. But yeah, nobody expects that's going to happen. So
Yeah.
can we have the jury, please, Deputy? Thank you.
And thank you for accommodating me this morning.
It's fine.
Noon time or whatever.
Everybody got lunch. It worked.
But you considered my time, and I appreciate it.
All right, for the jury.
Be seated. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed your lunch. And just a break from the courtroom generally. And we're going to go ahead and get Ms. Patton back on the stand, please. Thank you, ma'am. We'll just take a moment to get adjusted. Thank you. And Ms. Patton, I'll just remind you that you were sworn in when you began testifying, and
Yes,
even though
ma'am.
we took a break, you continue to be under oath, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Mr. Fassett, you may continue your examination.
Thank you, Judge.
Okay.
I'm going to approach the bench and show you State's Exhibit 27, okay?
Okay.
And actually, Your Honor, at this time, counsel has agreed to allow me to introduce a paper version. This is Exhibit 27. This is a self-authenticating document. It is the the July 29th, 1998 request for dismissal of Melissa Wolfenbarger. It is a certified document which has been provided to the defense, and I would enter that into evidence at this time.
Mr. McDermott?
No objection.
Okay, Exhibit 27 is admitted.
Okay. Now, Ms. Patton, you were testifying to the July 29th date, in particular, the instance in which the judge allowed Melissa to speak with Christopher. And your testimony is that you were present for that?
Yes,
Okay.
I was.
All right. Now, I am publishing State's Exhibit 27. Do you see the document listed petitioner's dismissal?
Yes, sir.
All right. And is that actually the document that Melissa signed requesting the court to dismiss the battery charges against the defendant on that date?
Yes, sir.
All right. And is it your testimony that this happened, this request for dismissal and the signature of Melissa happened after the defendant requested the opportunity to speak? I believe your testimony was along with her?
I'm confused.
Okay. You recall testifying as to that July 29th date when you were in court with your daughter?
I don't believe I testified.
You were there.
Well, just before we went to lunch, just today. Okay?
Okay.
You remember being in court with your daughter?
I remember being in court, yes.
Do you remember your daughter speaking with the defendant after talking with the judge?
Yes.
And do you recall the case being dismissed after that?
I wasn't clear on the case being dismissed.
Okay.
All I was really aware of is that I left the courthouse alone. Melissa did not leave the courthouse with me.
Okay, all right. And that was on that 29th date, is that correct?
Yes.
All right. All right. You were talking about that July incident. At any point, did you go either pick Melissa up after that incident occurred?
No, sir.
How did you come into contact with Melissa after that July incident?
I didn't come into contact with Melissa after that July 29th. I turned the kids over to Kathy. Melissa was not with her when I gave the kids to Kathy. And
Okay. Now, you talked about seeing Melissa somewhere around 4 or 5 times during the year, on average during the year. Is that correct?
yes,
And would Melissa reach out to you and Carl Patton in the form of either calls or letters?
it was usually just her coming to the house.
And what do you mean by that?
Well, she would, yeah, I would come home and maybe find pictures or where she had been there and left pictures of the babies.
Okay, all right. And what about birthdays? Did she
Okay.
reach out to you on your birthdays?
Oh, she always called me on my birthday, the holidays, and mine and her dad's anniversary. She always remembered the dates.
Would she write cards and send you cards as well?
Oh, yes. I got cards all the time.
Now, would she send cards to just you, or would she send them to anyone else?
Well, if it was just my birthday, it would be to me, but when it was an anniversary or something special like Valentine's Day, it would be me and Carl.
Is that what you were referring to when you were talking about, I guess, the differences between, say, Melissa and Tina?
Yes,
Okay. So your testimony is that you got accustomed to receiving a call or letter or card on important days.
right, always.
And
Makes
do you
sense.
remember a point in time when you stopped seeing or hearing, or when did it become a concern for you?
In September and October of 98, Melissa was in DeKalb County Jail. I found out that she'd been picked up and for violation of probation. She was in the DeKalb County Jail. And I went to see her while she was locked up in September and October.
Okay. And so you went to the jail to see her?
Yes.
All right. What condition was she in when you went to the jail to see her?
Melissa's always been a really quiet child, so we just basically, trying to find out what her court date was going to be and that kind of thing. At that time, she told me that she wanted something special for Christmas. And I said, okay, what would you like? And she said, it's not something you can go out and buy, Mom. She said, you don't have to go out and buy it. And I said, okay. And she said, I want a picture of me and Pawpaw.
Okay. Who is Paw?
Pawpaw was Carl's father.
All right.
And he passed away on one of the times that Melissa had run away.
Okay. I see. Okay. Did that have an impact on Melissa?
Yes,
All right. And is
That's
that why she wanted that
understandable.
photograph?
right. And she said that's all she wanted for Christmas.
Okay.
So I went and I found a picture of her and her Pawpaw that I liked, and I thought she would like, and I made it into an 8x10, and I wrapped it up to give to her Christmas.
Okay. Did you ever get an opportunity to give that photograph that she asked you for?
Sure.
Did you ever get an opportunity to give Melissa that photograph?
No, I did not, because Christmas 1998, she didn't come. She didn't call.
Okay. Now, Ms. Patton, I'm going to hand you what's been marked as State's Exhibits 69. We start with chronological order. 67, 68, 69, and 7. Okay? You can take a look at these exhibits yourself, or you recognize them.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. I'm going to hand you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 1. Can you take a look at this exhibit and tell the court if you recognize State's Exhibit 1?
Yes, that's my baby girl.
Okay, is it a photograph of her?
Yes, it is.
Is that photograph representative of how Melissa looked at the time of her death?
No, sir.
And why not?
Because this was a photo that we went to Glamour Shots at South Lake Mall,
Okay.
just me and her.
And how old was Melissa at that time?
This, I think, I'm not sure, was probably 1997, so she would have been 20.
All right. So that roughly is about a year before she went missing?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Your Honor, at this time, the state will move to tender in evidence State's Exhibit 1.
Mr. McDermott?
No objection.
Okay, Exhibit 1 is admitted.
Okay. And as to State's Exhibits 67 through 70, are those in fact the cards that you received from your daughter?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And copies of the cards, are those
Right.
Are those accurate copies of the cards that you received?
Yes.
Your Honor, at the time, the state moved to introduce into evidence State's Exhibits 67, 68, 69, and 70.
Mr. McDermott?
No objection.
Okay.
Permission to publish?
7, 68, 69, and 70 are admitted, and yes, you may publish them.
Thank you. Okay. We're going to start publishing State's Exhibit 1. And can you tell the court what we're looking at?
That's this photo right here.
Okay. And who is that on that photograph?
Melissa?
And is that who we've been talking about here this morning?
Yes, sir.
All right. And is that the same person that ultimately disappeared in December 1998?
Yes, sir.
All right. I'm going to publish State's Exhibit 67. And you were testifying as to cards that you would receive from your daughter. Can you tell us what we're looking at that's being published from State's Exhibit 67?
It's a card addressed to me that I got for my birthday.
All right. And what's the date indicated on that card? You see that? Do you see the month?
February.
All right. And you see the year that was sent?
Yes, 1997.
Okay. And that appears to be that same year that we had the glamour shots photo in Exhibit 1?
I believe so.
Okay.
Okay. And if y'all's mom or auntie or someone in your family didn't have a glamour shot, I don't know if you were alive in the 90s. Yes, my mom did have a glamour shot, and I wish glamour shots were still around because could you imagine a soft focused, bedazzled Mo with, a feather boa? I mean, it sounds like the funnest thing in the entire world.
Now I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 68. Now, Exhibit 8 is being published now. Can you tell us what Exhibit 68 is being published. Can you tell us what we're looking at?
That is anniversary card that Melissa sent to me and her dad.
Okay. And did she also include a written note?
Yes, she did.
Can you read that into the record?
Happy anniversary. This year, I'm going to take you out to lunch. My only day off is June 6th. Meet us there at 11:45 to 12 o'clock at Ryan's. You and Dad can bring JC and Kimberly.
Okay. And when we're talking about Dad, is she referring to Carl Patton?
Yes.
And is this a card from just Melissa, or is there anyone else included on this card?
She signed it Melissa, Chrissy, and Joey.
Okay. And who are those persons?
Chrissy is Christina, and Joey is Joseph.
Okay. Those your grandchildren?
Yes.
Now I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 69. Can you tell us what we're looking at?
That's Father's Day card to her dad.
Okay. And can you read into the record the top part of the front of the card on the left?
For a dad who means so much.
All right.
You want me to read the rest of it?
No, that's fine. Thank you. And I'm going to scroll down to the bottom of State's Exhibit 69. And is there anything written at the top corner of that exhibit?
Father's Day,
All right. And who is that addressed to?
Carl Patton.
And who is he?
He is Melissa's dad.
Okay. All right. And last, I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 70. Exhibit 70 is being...
So I think this case is going to come down to which family do you believe more? Because I do believe that Christopher's mother is going to come to the stand, and she is the grandparent that has had and raised, I believe, Melissa and Chris's two children. So it is going to be interesting to see if the jury, who the jury believes more, because it's kind of going to be the battle of the grandmas. Because the defense, and I'm assuming Kathy Wolfenbarger is going to say that Melissa wanted to relinquish her rights to the children. She didn't want Norma or Carl to have the children because the defense alleges that Melissa was, they're alleging a third-party defense where Melissa was possibly taken out by her parents because she had knowledge of their crimes from the 1970s. At least that is the gambit from the defense. And then the state's gambit is that whatever the defense says is a shading of the truth. Norma knows exactly what happened, and she's going to give you the true kind of insight into Melissa. So I think it will be interesting to see which of the families the jury goes with, and if the state can produce more than a letter as far as concrete evidence that Melissa wanted to maintain her rights to her children and, was leaving Chris for his, laying hands on her or what have you, because it really is a convoluted case with not a lot of physical evidence.
Published, can you tell us what we're looking at?
That is Mother's Day to me.
All right. And is that in 97 as well?
Yes, it is.
All right. I'm going to scroll down to the end of State's Exhibit 70. And do you see a handwritten note from Melissa?
Next Wednesday, May 14th, I would like to take you and Daddy out for lunch. I'll give you your Mother's Day present then.
Okay. Now, so when you're testifying as to the ways that your daughter Melissa would keep in contact with you, is that what you've been talking about? The exhibits represented in 67 and 70.
Yes, sir.
6 through 7. Okay. So we get to December, and you do not hear anything from Melissa.
Right.
When do you start to take action, or when you start to do something related to that?
I was really upset that I hadn't heard from her, and she didn't call Christmas Day, and she didn't come. So I started worrying immediately. It took me until my birthday to convince her dad that something was wrong,
Okay. So your birthday's
to my birthday.
okay, and that would have been around February.
That was February, yes.
99.
Yes.
All right. What do you do when you start to, and when we get to February,
Well,
what happens then?
we start trying to find her.
What do
No.
you do to try to find her?
I believe after my birthday, we went to Brookline Street in Atlanta to where her and Chris were living. And when we got there, the house was empty. Nobody was living
Okay.
in the house.
All right. And at any point, do you make any attempts to contact law enforcement?
Not right away. I did when another month or so, I guess. It actually took me till the whole year of 1999 to be able to convince everybody that something was wrong.
Okay. When you say everybody, who are you trying to talk to?
Just friends and family and
Okay. Was it, had there ever been a period of time when you had gone without speaking to Melissa? Like when you're talking about December to your birthday in February. Had you ever gone that long without talking to her?
no,
Okay.
no. That was the longest time frame that I hadn't talked to her.
All right. What is the first law enforcement agency that you attempted to contact?
Atlanta.
Okay. And did you speak to someone at the Atlanta Police Department?
I did, and they told me.
Well, you can't say what they said. That's fine. Did you go to any other law enforcement agencies?
Yes,
What agency was that?
that would be Henry County.
Okay.
Well,
So,
you are welcome.
If we're trying to orient, a time frame, and,
Right.
and we're in 1999, and this is the year that you're going into the different agencies, can you tell us around what time of year you start with Atlanta Police Department?
It was probably in the spring. It was somewhere around in the springtime.
And how many times do you attempt to make contact with them?
Well, when I contacted them about it, they didn't want to. The person I spoke to, I don't know who it was. They told me because she was married and she was over 18, and she was 21 at the time. So
Okay. At what point did you go to Henry County?
Henry County, because we talked to a friend of ours and told him that we couldn't find Melissa, and what suggestions he could do to help us find her.
Okay. Did you make any attempts to contact the district attorney's office?
No,
Okay. At any point did you do that?
no.
All right. What other efforts did you do to look for Melissa during that period, in addition to going to different agencies?
Well, when we went to Brookline Street, one of the neighbors told us that Chris was working at the glass company. So we went over there, and Carl went in.
And you can't say what anybody told you. Were you able to locate the defendant at that glass company?
No,
Okay. All right. At any point, did you meet with any lead detectives from the Atlanta Police Department after an investigation was open?
I'm confused.
Are you familiar with Detective Calhoun?
Yes,
Who is Detective Calhoun?
he was the name and number that I was given to contact when, in 2003, when Melissa was finally identified.
Okay. And at that time, was it your understanding that he was a lead detective on that case?
Yes,
All right. And did you, in fact, contact that detective?
yes, I did.
All right. And did you provide information and conduct interviews with that detective?
Yes,
All right. And at any point, did you conduct any interviews with the medical examiner's office?
as when I went and met with Detective Calhoun, he immediately took us to the medical examiner. He took me to the medical examiner's office.
What happened when you went to the medical examiner's office?
They basically took my sample,
What do you mean by that?
cheek swab.
Okay. All right. So you gave a DNA sample that day?
Yes,
All right. And what was the purpose of that?
to verify that it was Melissa.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. And at any point, you familiar with Kathy Wolfenbarger?
Yes, sir.
Who is Kathy Wolfenbarger?
She is Chris's mother.
Okay. What's your relationship like? And I'm referring you back to that period of time when Melissa was alive. What was your relationship like with Kathy Wolfenbarger?
The few times that I saw Kathy was when she brought Melissa and the babies to my house for Christmas.
Okay. When did you first meet her?
When Melissa and Chris started running away.
Okay. Was that before they were married?
Yes.
All right. And did you ever make any attempts to contact Miss Kathy Wolfenbarger looking for your daughter?
And when we couldn't find Melissa in 1999, I caught Kathy pulling it in her driveway and getting out of the car with the two babies, Christina and Joey.
Okay. What did you do after that?
I pulled in the driveway. She immediately sent the two babies into the house. And when I got out of my car and walked up to her, I asked her where Melissa was.
Okay. All right. Was that successful in locating your daughter, Melissa?
No.
All right. You had previously testified that Melissa would write letters to you.
Yes.
And would Melissa ever give you any insight as to what her life was like with Kathy Wolfenbarger and Kimberly Cambron?
Basically, that in order for her to get any time with Christina, that she had to get up early in the morning and take the kids before Kathy got up there.
Okay. I'm going to hand you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 71. Tell me where you recognize this exhibit.
Yes, sir.
How do you recognize that exhibit?
It's one of the notes that I got home and found on my door.
And you recognize the handwriting on that exhibit?
Yes, it is Melissa's.
Okay. How are you?
Okay.
Well, how many times would you say you'd seen Melissa's handwriting?
Too many to count?
Okay. Is it more than 5?
Yes.
More than 10?
Yes.
And when she would send you the cards, as I've entered in 67 through 70, would she often write in her own handwriting as she did on those exhibits?
Yes.
And are those exhibits representative of what you actually turned over to our office?
Yes.
But in terms of the number, did you provide substantially more cards from your daughter? So there are 4 cards that you were shown?
Yeah.
Have more cards than that?
Yep. Yeah, I believe so.
All right, okay. And is it your testimony, or are you able to say, based off of your experience viewing Melissa's handwriting, that that is in fact Melissa's handwriting?
Yes.
Depicted on State's Exhibit 71.
Yes.
Your Honor, this time the state moved to tender in evidence, State's Exhibit 71.
Mr. McDermott?
No objection.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to turn your attention to the back page of this exhibit.
70, forgive me, I forgot to say, 71 is admitted.
Did Melissa ever write to you and talk about Kathy? Did she ever write to you and talk about Kathy Walkmar?
Yes.
Did she ever write to you and talk about Kathy and her children,
Yes.
your grandchildren?
Yes.
On State's Exhibit 71, are you able to read her handwriting?
Yes.
Okay, can you start right here and end right here? Just start right there and read that into the record.
But Kimberly and I get along pretty good. Every time she hears her mom say something about me, she sticks up for me and tells me about it. I remember telling that Kathy said that she wishes me and Chris would move away. Kimberly says to her that if we moved, we would take Chrissy with us. Kathy said, no, she won't either. And Kimberly, she is their daughter. Then Kathy said, no, she isn't. If someone said that about you, you would get mad. So did I. I told Chris, and Chris got mad. When Kathy asked to take Chrissy off, Chris said no. She better be here when I get back. Kathy got mad, and I laughed.
Now, based on that letter and your conversation that you had with Melissa,
Yeah.
was it
Well, that's kind of where I'm teetering on either, considering she was found near his home and work, either he wasn't that bright or a third party did it and planted evidence to frame him. Yeah, I mean, again, I try to apply my own logic, which is relatively okay most days, but that's really kind of where I'm going. Is it more likely that Chris did something in a fit of anger? The problem is that all the scenarios are possible in the realm of possibility, and we need evidence. And I understand this letter, but I need scientific evidence if possible. I love the bedazzled chair. That was awesome.
your impression that Melissa wanted to turn her children over to Kathy Walker?
No.
Your impression that Melissa wanted to permanently give up her custody of her children to Kathy Walfenbarger?
No.
Did Melissa ever say that?
No.
And your testimony is that 7 days after that July attack in 1998, Melissa asked for the case to be dismissed on July 29th. Is that your testimony?
Yes.
And is that also the date that your grandchildren went back with Kathy Walfenbarger?
Yes.
Okay. Now, you mentioned in 2003 that you made contact with lead detective Alton Calhoun. Is that when Melissa's remains were identified?
Yes.
Okay. Was there anything else that happened in 2003 of significance?
Yes.
Okay, what is that?
Melissa's father was arrested.
Okay. What was he arrested for?
He was arrested for murder.
All right. And was there a name associated with your husband, Carl Patton? Was there a nickname associated with him?
Yes.
And what is that nickname?
His nickname was Hotshot.
A nickname, another nickname specifically, a national nickname associated with your husband. Are you familiar with what I'm talking about?
Yes.
And what is that name?
The Flint River murders.
Okay, all right. And so you're familiar with that name?
Yes.
All right.
Ma'am, don't try to be cute. Does he have a nickname? Cletus? No, I think you mean the Flint River murderer. This is not the time to play cute. I understand that this is an incredibly sensitive subject for her, but this is not the time to play cute, especially when you you already have possible credibility issues with your links to your husband's crimes, which are going to be brought up, slightly here in the direct, but then really, really dug into on the cross. You probably don't want to be flippant or glib about the fact that your husband took 5 people's lives.
Now, we're talking about 2003 when your husband is arrested and the remains are identified. Are you familiar with Bruce Jordan?
Yes,
All right. Was he the investigator that worked on that case?
yes,
All right. And did you get an opportunity to meet Bruce Jordan?
yes, I did.
Where did that meeting take place?
In my dining room.
All right. Was there anyone else present in your dining room when that happened?
I believe the original investigator on the Flint River murders was there.
Okay. Where was Carl Patton at that time?
They had taken him out.
All right. Now, had they arrested you as well at this time?
No, I was not under arrest.
Okay. And at any point, did you make any request
Yes,
after
I
Carl
did.
Patton was arrested?
Yes,
What was that request?
Bruce Jordan wanted me to help him and to talk to him about what Carl had done. And I told him if he wanted my help, that he needed to find my daughter
Okay.
because she was missing.
Okay. And so that request in 2003, and then you have the subsequent identification of the remains in that same year. Is that your testimony?
Yes,
How soon, if you can recall, how soon do we have that interview to where we get the identification?
Carl was arrested on the morning of February 23rd, and I was told on March 17th that Melissa had been found and ID'd.
Okay. What did you do after that?
I I'm not understanding the question.
Okay. After you found out about the identity of the remains, did you know where the remains were located?
Yes, he told me they were in Atlanta.
Okay. Did you know where in relationship to the Brookline residence those remains were?
I was given the address of Avon Avenue.
Okay. All right. And did you also know that that was the same location where the defendant worked? Were you aware of that?
I did not realize it at that time.
Okay.
It was not until I met with Detective Calhoun and he took me to where she was found.
Okay. Now, going back to the request that you made of the detectives, did that end that investigation for you? Did you have to resolve any criminal cases yourself related to that Carl Patton homicide?
Yes, I did. I had to testify against him and tell them, answer their questions.
Okay. And so you testified against Carl Patton?
Yes, I did.
All right. One moment, Judge.
Sure.
And this is going to be a bit of a shorter stream today. I do have to run some errands before the craziness of the weekend. So we are probably going to end here. So we can start either, depending on how long the errands take, either this afternoon or tomorrow. We will start directly on day 3. I didn't think that it was going to end this abruptly, but they did have to stop fairly early on day 2 because of the one juror that has dialysis, I think, or some sort of medical issue. So they had to stop at 3. But I don't know how I'm reading her. She's less sinister in this particular viewing of her, or at least less off-putting, kind of than she was initially to me when she first got on stand and kind of started bragging about her marriage to Carl and how long they'd been married and that kind of thing. I still think that credibility is going to be a big issue. And just her kind of the couple short times she's kind of shown inappropriate humor or a glossing over of what she and Carl did doesn't bode well for me because she kind of, again, with that, what's his nickname? Oh, his nickname was Hot Shot. It's kind of rich for a person who wants, again, the sympathy and the really, again, I can't imagine the grief that she's had to walk through from losing a child, but she also visited that grief upon 5 other families. So I find it very kind of very interesting how my kind of view on her changes almost minute by minute. And thus far, again, in a letter to your mom, you might shade things to where you look like a better person. So while maybe Melissa might have had all of these feelings as far as her mother-in-law and how she was overstepping her boundaries as a parent, this might have been a venting letter rather than, hey, this is actually what's going on. And I think if the trial continues in this fashion where the evidence is more emotional based or you have to infer, those cases are really aren't cases I particularly enjoy. I don't like that, again, we don't have a lot of concrete, and this timeline is so shifty. Now, I understand it's been a long time, but it's the constant mixing up of 98 and 89, of kind of going through and around different events. So it's a very convoluted case, and I just don't see a great case in what the state has presented. Now, granted, we are only on day 2, and today is a shorter day. So again, I don't know what to make of it, but one thing to keep an eye on and to watch on for direct, according to the defense, now they do have like a signed contract out here for evidence, but someone connected to either the state's witness list, but most likely the family, it looks like has signed a contract with Netflix to do a documentary that sort of covers the family history from Carl Patton's crimes all the way forward and well, allegedly up to Christopher being on trial for Melissa's, disappearance and death. They do have a signed contract with someone on the state's witness list. There is possibility that, they have a motivation to shade the testimony, in a certain way in order to get an outcome. At least these are things that the defense has put up. Again, I don't feel very comfortable having these sort of questions of integrity about a victim's family, but they are very relevant given the family's past and some of the things that aren't really adding up. Again, it does seem like Melissa had a very troubled childhood into young adulthood, and something doesn't seem right. The sniff test is off. But thank you guys so much for joining me. Sorry it is such a short stream today, but Mr. Mo is kind of my technical support guru, and he has time between fixing a new toilet in our house to go with me to Best Buy. So I figured I better, take that offer while it still stands on the table so I don't get hoodwinked into buying a terrible, whatever it is we're going to go look at, laptop. That being said, I appreciate it so much. So we are going to be back. I am going to plan to have tomorrow at about 9 or so, a Newsy News kind of or Saturday shenanigans stream. And then we are going to dive into this case and try to catch up as much as we can over the weekend with some longer streams. That's my plan for this weekend, at least. Fingers and toes and everything's crossed. So we can be caught up, hopefully, or as close to caught up as we can be for next week. So we can try to get that going and get everything ready and be on current time. So thank you all so much for joining me. Let me see who I can send you to. Because again, I did not realize with the Fridays, we were going to have a bit of a shorter day. So let me get that and see who I can redirect you to. Now, I know that the Adelson case is huge. I am going to send you over to Recovery Addict. Give him some love. I know Squid is live. If you guys would like to watch Squid for the Hales, I didn't know if you guys were more into the true crime stuff, but we'll go with Squid. Give her some love. And have a lovely Friday. I will see you guys tonight on Shizzy's stream. I'll be two places. So I'll be on Shizzy's stream for the pre-game before FNL, and then I'll be joining Publicly Buzzed over on his channel after that, and we are going to watch Crybaby. So if you need a Johnny Depp top-up, go ahead and head on over there, and I'll try to have links to that in my community page. So that is what I'm planning to do. Thank you guys so much. Remember, be kind to yourself, be kind to others, but have a sassy mouth and carry a can of bitch fire, because kindness doesn't equal doormat or test the Jesus in me. Bye, you guys.